listening to Sudbury News Talk.
I want to show you something.
Stand by. On the morning shift.
Anything
could happen.
Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.
Hey everyone, welcome to Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift. I'm AJ Walsh, glad to be here with you. Thankful that you're here with us. We got another show and another week coming towards the latter half of July. Can you imagine that? July the 22nd, 2024. The summer is just moving on faster than I can believe anyways. It seemed like summer just started and it's now almost half over. In terms of, if you go from between June and September, that is, the end of the school year, so to speak, that type of summer. But, I guess maybe it's age. I have no idea, but it just seems like time is going a lot faster these days. Anyways, we're still here each and every weekday morning between 7:30 and 8:30, Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift, live on CKLU 96.7 FM, Sudbury's campus and community radio station. Been around since 1984. Started in a little trailer on the Laurentian University campus, Ramsey Lake Road. Now we're broadcasting from the old Telegraph building, part of the new MacEwan School of Architecture on the corner of Elgin and Elm. So while you're on the website streaming, if you want to stream us, you can click on the Radio Player Canada app or download the Radio Player Canada app. While you're there, purchase some merch and help support the station. Even just drop a donation if you're able to financially. If you appreciate the programming that's on this station, do your best to support it because it relies on your support. That's how it stays. It stays on air. The lights are on. The mic's open. The electricity is flowing. The computers can be worked on and made sure to work. The tower that we have to rent in order to broadcast. It's all because of you, and we really appreciate you. It's your station, and this is your conversation on your station each and every weekday morning. We're also broadcasting live streaming at facebook.com/Sudbury News, youtube.com/Sudbury News. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, and follow the page and the channel. Also on demand afterwards on those two platforms. And we're also on demand at twitter.com/Sudbury News, now X, and Sudbury.news, which is Sudbury's news aggregator. If you don't know what a news aggregator is, it just means all the news from all the local outlets are on one page. So this morning I was just scrolling through and I was thinking, you know what? If I didn't have something to do with this, honestly, unbiasedly, I would just think this is an incredible, on my phone, it's just all the news, one story after another from CBC, CTV, Sudbury Star, Sudbury.com, all just right there. And if you want to know what's going on in your city, Greater Sudbury, you just go to Sudbury.news, the main page, and scroll through all the stories. It's a really great way to keep up to date on what's going on in your city. Do it a couple minutes a day and you'll be up to speed. And, and every once in a while, there'll be a story that'll catch your attention and you'll want to know more about it and you'll click on it and read it. Right. So that way you're not like, oh, I didn't hear about that. Or why am I always the last to hear about things? Well, that's because it's not as easy to share news anymore as the federal government has made it to the point where we can't share news on Facebook or Instagram, Facebook especially was the platform that most people use to share news, and now we can't. And that's all in the name of making media more money, which it didn't work. And at the end of the day, you just can't share news. Way to go, federal government. We'll have more on the federal government later, as usual. Did you know that Justin Trudeau has increased the bureaucrats of Canada since he's been in office by 46%. 46%. Now, in order to pay for those bureaucrats and for their pensions, you need to increase taxes, right? And you've noticed that your life has gotten that much easier because of the 46% in the bureaucrats that were hired, right? Like life hasn't been better in Canada now that we have more government, right? More government means better quality of life. So your life has a way better quality now since Justin Trudeau's come into power. He's not even really in power. The king is in power. He's kind of just an administrator, but I guess still able to make decisions that affect our lives and allowed to do what he's doing. So he's not really in power, but he's executing power. How about that? All right. So before I get on too much of a tangent, we'll begin the show with a little bit of weather, jump in with your good morning salutations. We've got a good little bunch on so far on the show, and we'll dive into some weather, your comments, news headlines, and some deep diving going on this morning on what I just kind of talked about and more right after this. Sudbury weather brought to you by Duck Check. Visit duckcheck.com. Give them a call, 705-918-4848 for your duck cleaning and inspection. Currently it is 13 degrees. It's partly cloudy. Today we can expect sunny, becoming a mix of sun and cloud near noon. There are fog patches. If they're out there, they're going to be dissipating. And dissipating this morning, high of 26, humidex 28, UV index 7 or high. Tonight, partly cloudy, low of 14. Tuesday, mainly cloudy, 40% chance of showers in the afternoon, a risk of thunderstorm, high of 23, humidex 26, UV index 7 or high. And today we can expect tomorrow, expect 40% chance of showers, high of 23, 60% chance of showers on Wednesday, high of 22, and then a 40% chance of showers on Thursday with a high of 23. Friday and Saturday, both sunny, 26, 27, 30 degrees and mix of sun and cloud on Sunday. So it's shaping up for a pretty awesome weekend, if you ask me. We'll see if it stays that way. And it looks like an interesting weather picture from our satellite. There's a large strip of clouds going on from the lower part of Manitoba around Winnipeg across Thunder Bay, just pretty much hitting Timmins and all the way across Quebec. There's just a big line of clouds and some precipitation activity. Other than that, we're pretty clear below that, including Sudbury. And that's your Sudbury weather brought to you by Duck Check. Visit duckcheck.com. That's DUCT check.com. Or give them a call at 705-918-4848. Let them know we sent you. You'll get $100 off your next duck cleaning and inspection. And if you want to find out why you would choose them, you just have to visit them on their website. Has all the details there. They serve Greater Sudbury and the Muskoka areas, including Huntsville, all the way to Parry Sound. So that's your Sudbury weather brought to you by Duck Check. And we'll be back with your comments, news headlines, and more right after this. Okay, thanks for sticking around, everyone. Thanks for being with us each and every weekday morning. I know that it's a great way to kick off the morning with a little bit of a discussion about your community, your area, your province, your country, your world. And it's something I look forward to each and every morning, even though I'm like, I'm not prepared, or maybe I don't feel up to it this morning. And I'm like, well, give your head a shake and get your brain juices flowing, because we're going live in 2 minutes. And as long as all the devices are working, it's like, okay, we're live. I just got to start talking. And then there we go. And then by the end of it, I got to know where the time went. We don't have enough time to cover everything. So it's amazing how fast an hour can go. And with that, Nana is joining us on YouTube. Top of the morning to you and all our listeners. Thank you very much, Nana. I hope you're having a great morning. Judy on Facebook. Good morning to you, Judy. Thanks for being with us. Happy Monday, beginning to the work week for a lot of us. Monique, good morning. Sunny emoji, good morning, Sudbury. And Vin, good morning to you as well. Morning, as you'd say. Hope you're having a great morning. Belinda, good morning to you. And looking forward to your comment this morning, your statement of the day. In order to love who you are, you cannot hate the experiences that shaped you. Okay, that's very true. Don't live in the past, especially the past that you feel you should have done better or could have done things differently. Learn from them, right? Learn from them, and don't hate your past self, but appreciate and thank your past self for where it got you today, right? Because if you've learned from what you've been through, a lot of us go, why did I do that? Like, have you ever had that moment? Why did I do that? How could I have done that? How could I have said that? You know? Well, the fact that you're saying that to yourself is pretty incredible. It means you realized what you did was probably not the best that you could have done. Maybe you hurt someone's feelings. Maybe you really did something harmful. And on the scale, I don't even know what scale we use when we're looking at, judging ourselves or judging others. I don't know who invented the scale. I guess we all have our own little scale that we have. But anyways, sometimes you need to be a little bit merciful on yourself. And sometimes you need to kind of give yourself a check and go, you know what? How did I do? What did I do right? What did I do I can improve on? Am I, I always boil it down to treating others the way we want to be treated. That's a scale for me. Am I really honestly, if I was that other person and I was looking at me or, observing me in a situation, would I want to be treated that way from myself? It's an interesting little test, but yeah, don't hate your past self. However, learn to embrace it. It is what it is, as we say, and move on and learn and be better. As long as you're a little bit better each and every day at whatever it is, you got to kind of focus on that, on the progress that you're making, not on things that you could have done differently and you can't do anything about now. It's done. It's done. Can't change the past unless you can invent a time machine. If you do, let me know, because I'd love to have one myself. But other than that, you just kind of have to accept. So thank you very much, Belinda, for that this morning. Monique, good morning. Good day all. Heart emoji, sun emoji. It's going to be a sunny one. Oh, Belinda, yes. Sleepy Joe dropped out of the presidential race. He probably won't remember doing that. That'd be funny. He comes out tomorrow and says, I'm sticking in, just like I've said. Didn't he say even it would take God himself to come down and tell him not to run again? Well, I guess he's seen God. I have no idea. Or he's told him somehow that maybe it's just George Soros, but I guess he would be God to Joe Biden. So that would be the same thing. But either way, he's announced that he will not be running again. He's going to fulfill, he says, which I doubt for some reasons that, looking into what I've been doing lately, do you know there's interesting prophecies and things that are out there that apply to the United States. And one of them was that this particular president who is in office at this moment would not complete his term. And it looks like, anyways, even the idea of him bowing out of the next race. When was the last time we've seen that? A president, while he's president, say, no, I'm not going to run again. And then they have to go and find another candidate, like right before, like, when's the election? November, right? So August, September, October, November. Like, it's almost to the day 4 months before an election, and they're going to choose someone new. Like, this is unprecedented, right? I particularly feel that there's going to be some type of an event, if not a worldwide event, at least an event in the United States, that would cause them to say at first they're going to delay the election and then eventually no election will take place. That's my own feelings. And I've told you that on the show, I think last week. And I said I would be talking more about it, and I will. As time goes on, a little bit by little bit, we'll kind of say this is kind of pointing towards that. There's not going to be an election. I thought that this would happen back with Barack Obama. I just got this sense like this particular party with this particular group of people behind this particular party, they want to keep power. Like they want the power that they have when they're in power. And that was the idea of a democracy, right? Someone gets to be in power for a while and then you're out and give a chance for someone else to come in. But there's certain people who found ways to kind of keep that power behind the scenes. And they don't like relinquishing it. Once you're the king of the hill, why would you step aside and allow someone else to be king of the hill? And another thing, when you're doing things like causing people a lot of problems when you're in power and then you're out of power, now you feel vulnerable that maybe the new person in power could do things to you. It's really simple, actually, just that whole concept. And so then you have people trying to come up with ways to keep the power. And then you think, well, that would never happen because the way the system is this, that, and the other. Well, the system is slowly being changed. I don't know if you've noticed that. And to the point where they can just kind of, through the media, sell you the ideas that they have, that things are changing and they're changing in this way and don't worry about it. Look, we're only going to close down the economy for 2 weeks, okay? We're just going to flatten the curve. Remember that one? So you go along with it. And then 4 years later, you're like, wow, that was a long 2 weeks. So again, these people don't necessarily have a long track record of saying the truth, being honest. They are very good liars. That's all they do, pretty much, just to appease the people that put them in the positions they're in. And, they know they have to represent them because they're the ones who got them where they are along the way. Little by little, people have done favors and things to get these particular people who are in those positions. And once they're there, they know what they got to do. They're like, the people said, you know who got you here. We need you to do this. And they go, okay, that's true. You did get me here. I'll do this. And eventually you're so compromised, you just read the teleprompter. You don't know what the heck to say. It's just give me my notes. It's like the chief medical officer of Ontario, if that's the title. Well, whoever the main guy of health in Ontario was during the last 4 years, he was caught on video saying, I don't know what the heck to say. Just give me the paper and I'll read whatever's on it. During that time where we're supposed to have medical experts, really giving us their advice. Even the government was like, we're not even going to govern. We're just going to give all the power over to these medical experts because we don't know anything about this. They're going to tell us how to run the country. So he said, just give me the piece of paper and I'll read it, So it's very telling. And it's not surprising to hear that. I was surprised that it was actually on camera because sometimes it's hard to get evidence of these things, but it is true. Like, the world you live in isn't exactly the way CBC tries to make it sound each and every day. Marianne, good morning, everyone from Barrie. Liked and shared as usual. Good morning, Marianne. Hope you're having a great morning, Marianne. Yes. So Bob says less government, more freedom. And I tend to agree with you, Bob. But as you can see, Justin Trudeau has increased the bureaucrats in Ottawa by 46%. I have a video. I might as well just do it now, because we're talking about it. I'm going to do this from now on instead of saying, "Oh, we'll get to it later." Maybe we have a time, to as we're talking about it, and then move on instead of jumping back and forth. So here you go. This is from the Canadian Taxpayer Federation, talking about that very thing.
Another big taxpayer story on the front page of today's National Post. What does it say here? Trudeau hired 10,000 bureaucrats last year. Wow. And that brings the federal bureaucracy up to 367,000 bureaucrats. Now, since Trudeau has come to power, he's added 108,000 federal bureaucrats. 108,000 federal bureaucrats. Did Trudeau think there was a bureaucrat shortage in Ottawa before he was elected prime minister? So now, since Prime Minister Justin Trudeau came to power, the bureaucracy in Ottawa has ballooned by 42%. 42% increase. Over the same time period, population growth has increased by 14%. So if Trudeau just increased the bureaucracy in line with population growth, there'd be 70,000 fewer federal paper pushers in the federal government today. So folks, take a look at your tax bill. You're paying for a bigger bureaucracy, taking bigger paychecks. Trudeau has handed over 1 million pay raises in the last 4 years alone. Trudeau has also rubber stamped $1 billion in bonuses. So 108,000 extra bureaucrats, more than 1 million pay raises, $1 billion in bonuses. And the only thing you seem to get out of that deal is a higher tax bill. So if you want to learn more, folks, check out today's front page of the National Post and the story here. Trudeau hired more than 10,000 federal bureaucrats last year alone, or head over to taxpayer.com.
You know, all of you are living or contributing to, I should say contributing to, perhaps not yet living, the Canadian dream.
Oh, I'm sure I would just want to keep playing that because it's probably really informative, but I don't know what he's going to say there. I didn't put that video up. But I have to say I said 46%. It's 42% that he increased the bureaucrats in Ottawa. I know there's a lot of people listening that'll just focus on that because that's what certain people, if they have a certain political leaning, they don't say to themselves, wow, that's incredible. Like, he hired 42% more bureaucrats and now I have to pay for them. Now, if there was a payoff and things got a lot easier and we had a lot of things that affected our lives positively because of that, and and just things were as good as they can be, well, then, okay, even for a while, even if that lasted for a while, you could say, well, good. Okay, life is good because you hired all these people. But it seems like things are getting worse, even though you hired 108,000 new people. That's almost the size of Barrie or Sudbury, like a whole population. It's like Thunder Bay of just government workers, federal. Holy crowley. Like, what was the need for that? And that's not like replacing people who were retired. That's like brand new people, creating jobs basically for people. Blessings, everyone. Denise, good morning for being with us. Belinda says, Justin Trudeau's reign of tyranny is coming to an end. Massive corruption, exposure at every possible angle. And that is so true. But you know what? When the election doesn't happen, as far as I'm concerned in the United States, we're going to adopt the same, I think, thing for the same reasons. The reason that will be so good for the United States not to have an election and keep the current, whoever's going to be the new leader of the Democrat Party will be in office. And they won't even be elected by the people, and they'll be running the United States because there's going to be some kind of huge terrorist event or a world war will break out. Something that they'll say, you know what, we just can't have an election right now. We're going to wait till this kind of subsides a bit, and then we'll have an election. And then the American people, the ones that will smell a rat, they'll go, come on, really? You really think we're buying into this? They're going to rise up. And there's a faction of people who want this to happen down there. There's a faction of people who want just civil unrest. That's their goal. And you can see where it's leading to. Like, you can see all this divisiveness and stuff. We've been being divided. So that way, when they put the secret ingredient into the mix, it's like, preparing a fire. That's what they've been doing. They've been drying out the wood, getting the accelerants put on it, getting everything all ready. And then they're just going to put a match, whatever the match is going to be. And you'll just see things go from there. Again, some people will say, "Where are you getting this from? You're one of those people or whatever." But someone who's been around and been looking, studying this for a long time, reading the news, like actually having to pay attention because we talk about this every day. You realize there's the frontline politics, and then there's something behind it called the deep state. We've heard that before from both sides. So both sides agree that there is a deep state. So it's not a conspiracy. There are people like bureaucrats that stay in power long after people are voted in and out. But they want absolute power. They definitely do. And the same party is in power in Canada and the United States right now. If you look at Liberal, Democrat, the same ideology. They have the exact same ideology. If you were to look at their platform, if they were to be transparent and just come out and say what they stand for, you'd have the exact, they could just take a copy and paste for each one. So what's good for one will be good for the other. So we're all looking forward to a new government here in Canada. They're really looking forward to a new government in the United States. So if some event happens that prevents people from asserting their rights to vote somebody else in, or at least another party, even though a lot will make the argument, well, it's all the same. Well, it's just the same, just the pathway to where we're going just is slowed down so much more with other parties and other people other than what we have currently. It's just a slower, more painful death, I guess you can say. These guys in power here are just torpedoing us into destruction, if you will, with all of their policies. And so it's just a quick, maybe we're like, yeah, let's just keep it this way. Let's just get this over with. Let's just get all this over with. Okay, you want this to happen? You want to have your world that you're so dedicated to having? Let's just go. Let's just do it and get it over with. And then we'll have to build something out of the ashes, so to speak, because that's what it's going to be, is ashes. Denise, 90 fires in BC, not climate change at all. Yeah, it's questionable, right? There was a Justin Trudeau, one of you guys shared with me the Justin Trudeau action figure doll. And it was like the climate change activist, Justin Trudeau, and it came with a lighter. So I thought that was very humorous, whoever invented that, whoever made that. Vince says on top of the 42%, because I said 46% bureaucracy increase, we pay private consultants because we can't elect them. Is that not what a government representative is supposed to be? Someone that knows how to get stuff done without the need for a paid consultant? I would think so. That leads me to the idea of Chrystia Freeland being the finance minister, right? So she's the finance minister. Why is she the finance minister? So you think, well, she must have some kind of experience in finance somewhere. And the answer is no, she has nothing. She was a journalist, and she helped write the biography or a book for George Soros, whose name just came up a second time in the show, which will probably get us censored or something somewhere along the lines somehow. But yeah, so you can see where her loyalty lies, but she has no experience in being a finance minister, and she's running the finances of our country. That should tell you something. Zero experience. So if in where I'm working, if I had zero experience, I couldn't get the job. Could you? Could you get the job if you had zero experience in something? Very little jobs will get you a job without experience. That's an entry-level position. So you can get an entry-level position at a Subway, a McDonald's, maybe in construction, they'll give you a shovel, things like that. But no, in this country, someone with no experience, you can make them the head of our finances, which makes 0 sense whatsoever. And then you look at our prime minister even, and he's the head of everything in the country, and he has what experience to do that? He was born into a family where his dad did it, so had experience. And then he was an MP for a couple of years. But before that, he was a part-time drama teacher. So the country's being led by a journalist and a part-time drama teacher is really what it boils down to. So you ask yourself, how did we get here? It's not hard to see. It's really not. I guess it's DEI at its best, right? Because we know Justin Trudeau has tried so hard to not be white at many parties that he's gone to in the past. And there's many pictures showing him trying to be someone else, another race other than what he is. So you have that, maybe, but really, honestly, without joking, there's just two incredibly non-experienced people who are so not qualified to be in the positions they are. And they are prime minister and not only finance minister, but deputy prime minister. That's what Chrystia Freeland is. So she's a journalist, so that qualifies her for being second in charge in Canada, and our finance minister. So if you're listening to this in another country, which many people are from time to time, that's who's running our country. Can you imagine that? Incredible. One of the G7 even. So, hey, maybe put your resume in next time. You never know. You don't really need experience. Good morning, y'all, from sunny Chelmsford. That's Jerome, Canada flag. Much appreciated. Jerome, thank you very much for being on. Vin says Larry Brock is trying to hold their feet to the fire. Yes, I like that Larry Brock guy. Anyone who legitimately questions this regime, or anybody for that matter, you need to be accountable to the people. Anyone who's helping us to be more accountable, I'm all for it. And I do see Larry Brock trying to hold people accountable. Fires caused by DEW, that's Monique, the takeover of the land. Yeah, I was driving back from Timmins yesterday and just noticed, again, the aerosol all through our skies that aren't naturally put there. I'm just thinking, what effect is that having on the whole forest between Timmins and Sudbury, right? Like it's in the sky, and what goes up must come down. So what's in that stuff, in the aerosol that's being sprayed over us in our skies? And what is it doing to trees? Like, is it maybe making them more flammable somehow? Because there's chemicals in the aerosols. And it's kind of like a fire, right? If you put certain chemicals on your fire, like we were just talking about earlier, they can be accelerants. And but no one's talking about that. No one's talking, even though it's hidden in plain sight, so to speak, right over our heads, each and every day, always there. No mainstream media talking about it hardly. The odd little kernel here and there of information comes out. We're breathing that stuff in. It's going on all of our plants. And I'm sure it must be aluminum. I know that there's aluminum found in the aerosols, and aluminum is highly flammable, and little shavings of it, and so that's not making our forests any more resilient. But it's all due to one thing. We know what the words they use. That's the only reason why it's going on. So you need to be taxed. You need to pay more taxes. Okay, Debbie says, good morning with a smiley emoji. Good morning to you, Debbie. And Kevin, good morning. Everyone watching, I hope everyone has a great day. Same to you, Kevin. Thank you so much. I always have to, we're always talking about things that sounds like we're complaining or whatever. But you know what? There's a lot to be thankful for in our lives. And it's good to continually think about those. So an exercise. I just wanted to put out there that I've tried several times. Start a list of things you're thankful for. Just, sometimes it's hard. Like you go, what am I thankful for? I'm not sure. So you write it down or make a mental note of it or a list and start, okay, that's one thing. I'm thankful for my health. I'm thankful for my friends. Okay. I'm thankful for a good parent or someone that, I'm thankful for a spouse, a loved one. I'm thankful for a child that I have. I'm thankful for, you just start, and then before you know it, the list doesn't end. Like you'll just go on and on and on, and you'll realize, wait a minute, I have so much to be thankful for. Because I think we hone in on, I know I do anyways, hone in on the things that are preventing me from doing something or holding me back or making mountains out of mole hills, so to speak. Like whatever the challenges are in my life, I focus on those instead of focusing on the things I'm thankful for and I have in my favor. I definitely, is making my life simpler. You ever have like a pain in your hand or something, a pain on your body, and you're like, man, this thing hurts. It hurts. And then think to yourself, well, I've gone most of my life without a pain in my hand or without a pain somewhere. And wow, I'm really thankful that I didn't have this pain all the time. That's just one example. Some of us are in pain and have that and have had pain our whole lives in a certain way. But regardless of that, you start thinking of other things that you're thankful for. That's a negative thing. And then you start thinking of all the things that you could be thankful for. And it doesn't end. It really, honestly does not end. Good morning, Claire. Good Mo, short for morning with an exclamation point. Good morning to you too, Claire, or good Mo. And Pat, good morning, everyone, with a smiley emoji. Good morning to you, Pat. Marianne says exactly. Treat others the way you want to be treated. If not, it comes back to you twofold or more. Belinda, here on Earth, what we're experiencing is not a courtroom. It's a classroom. And we're here to learn who and what we are. That is so good. That comes on, that's a piggyback two-parter today from you, Belinda. I really appreciate that. So the last time a president went through this was LBJ in 1968, where he realized, well, he was never elected to begin with, right? Because he just was installed after the assassination of JFK. Interesting that the last time this happened was a similar event before it. There was an assassination. In this case, there was an assassination attempt. But yeah, that's the last time a leader of a party who is in power decided not to run again or run for the next election, and they had to find a new leader. Marianne says, no one's really surprised he dropped out. He should have happened a lot sooner. Well, again, the media couldn't hide it anymore, right? After the debate, it was like, okay, everyone knows now. Although they knew already, the Democrats knew he was in the state that he was in. It's just as long as no one else knew, they could just go on and pretend. It was like Weekend at Bernie's, right? But as soon as it was revealed that everyone knew now, even just people they were lying to the whole time that just kind of ate it up, even they knew, well, now they can't keep it going anymore. So, yeah. So he was like that even before he was elected. Sometimes we have to shake the tree to get the fruit to fall. That's Jerome, and you're 100% right on that one. And Judy says, I don't give a rat's behind about American politics when we have bozos. Oh, Bozo the clown running our country. Yeah, I guess there's a lot of similarities, though, and that's like I tried to make the case of, you see, I don't think there's going to be an election in the United States, and I think Canada is going to also take advantage of the same whatever event is going to happen to prevent an election. We're going to say the same thing up here. But the end result, just like you're not able to share news on Facebook because Justin Trudeau was trying to get more money for the media, which I don't believe was the reason that he shut down news from being shared. That's what he did. He shut down news from being shared on Facebook instead of coming out and saying, I, Justin Trudeau, the strong leader that I am, don't agree with most news that's being shared and I'm going to shut it down. No, he didn't say that. He said, oh, for the best of Canadian media, they need to be paid more money. So we're going to go after those big bad platforms. Right? And the end result, though, was he got what he wanted, and that was for news to stop being shared on social media. The main one, anyways, the one that most people use in Canada, which is Facebook. And now if you go to CTV, Northern Ontario's Facebook page, nothing there. It's wiped off the map. It's like burning the books. It's basically like just burning all the books. That's what totalitarian governments do, or a lot of them have done, when they just want to wipe out everything and start over again. So it's pretty telling when you go to their platforms. I mean, go to Facebook pages of news organizations, and that's what you see, right? Okay, so we'll just continue on here. We have a local story here in Sudbury. You know, the speed cameras, you know, they got the new second tier cameras out there. One of them is on the hill in McCrae Heights. And over the weekend, they're installing them. They're not active as far as I know right now, but they're going to be. I'm not sure when, but some people are already taking exception to them. And if for a list, you just go on our Facebook page, and you can see the list of all the places where they're the second round. So they're moving them from where they first started to another place. But this is what happened to the one in McCrae Heights just over the weekend, or Friday, I think.
Police in Greater Sudbury are investigating an incident involving one of the 6 city speed cameras. They say one was set on fire around midnight at its new location on Municipal Road 80 in the McCrae Heights area. It was not operational at the time. Police said a caller told them 2 people on an ATV were seen setting the speed camera on fire before fleeing the area. The speed camera sustained substantial damage.
So that's what that's what they look like. That's what it looks like after it's burnt. But if you want to look at what it looks like while it's being burnt, I guess someone had some live footage of it here. There you go. So for those just listening on the radio, it's a speed camera with flames coming out the bottom of it and a lot of smoke. Somebody set it on fire. Now, we're not promoting this happening on the show. We're not telling people to go out and do this. We're just reporting that is what happened. And I am on the record of saying I am not a fan, however, of these speed cameras. I'm not surprised that people are doing this with the speed cameras, because this is what happens when you do things the way. This is what happens when we do things the way that we're doing this. Because of a lot of complaints from people, the city has used that as a green light for them to go ahead and say, well, you know, because this is better for the city, because we're hearing a lot of people complaining about people speeding, we're going to put these speed cameras in, and we're going to charge people so much money per kilometer or whatever that you're caught speeding from the camera. Now, they've used a third party. What are they doing with this data? Yeah, it's just like anything, right? Oh, yeah, no, it's safe. It's safe. The data is safe. They're taking all of our license plates, and, you know, also how many times you've driven by. They'll be able to record that too. They know each and every time you drive by that spot. So that data is used for something. So we're told that the data is safe, but that's it. We don't have any proof the data is safe. So that's one issue right there. Another is charging people. Things go wrong with these cameras too. We showed a story in Ottawa at a stoplight camera where a guy made a stop, he turned right, and he got ticketed as if he went through the light. So things can go wrong with that. Another thing is we see cameras and surveillance happening all around the world, mainly in China. And if you look at all of our lights when you're driving through them, how many cameras do they have on these lights in our city in the first place? Why? What are they all there for? Why are there so many cameras? So some of them are there. There's a few of them in the city that are on these lights that give people tickets if they go through the red light. But there's cameras on most lights. So what's up with that? Like, what are these cameras doing? What are they for? What are they tracking? Like, what's happening with the data? You know what I mean? So we're seeing more and more cameras around our city, but then we see a country like China, which has the most cameras out of any country in the world, and they have what's called a social credit system, and they've been able to link their cameras with this social credit score that you get as it tracks every move you do. And it gives you a social credit score based on your activities. So you jaywalk. Well, you get deducted some points because the camera saw you jaywalking. You know, you helped an old lady across the street. Apparently they give you some points for that, which is pretty good. If you're going to be surveyed all the time, at least they're going to reward you for doing. But now people are doing good deeds just to get points. You know what I mean? So you're doing good deeds not because you want to, because you're getting points. So people are trying to be good. It's a bizarre kind of Orwellian thing. Not even Orwellian. It's past that. So people are leery of cameras and that type of thing coming to Canada. And we know there's a lot of people out there with agendas that they want the same type of system in Canada as they want that they have in China. And we do not want that here. I do not want that here. I don't think it's needed. I don't think, it's not part of the whole plan of being free and an open society. You're being surveyed by a group of people that are monitoring your every move. And then if you move that into banking as well, they want everything to go digital currency. They want to get rid of cash. So, and now there's a new story that they have cars too that, so if you put all this together, cars that just have a kill switch on them, I've got to find this here. Here you go here. So this is coming too. So if you put all these things together, it's really creepy, sad, and should make people very leery of what they're doing, right? So, so this is why there's a lot of people who don't want these cameras. They see it as the beginning of things like this.
Did you know? The government may soon be able to shut down your car.
A new law requiring car manufacturers to install anti-drunk driving tech.
You may not have heard about that because when reporters covered the last infrastructure bill,
President Biden's biggest domestic accomplishment.
there was little mention of an item buried in the bill that includes a requirement that every new American car now must have a device to passively monitor performance of a driver, see if he may be impaired, and then limit vehicle operation.
It almost sounds like the domain of science fiction.
Congressman Thomas Massey objected.
A kill switch in vehicles that would be the judge, the jury, and the executioner on such a fundamental right.
But most of Congress went along. Even though regulators haven't decided how the kill switch might work.
Will this have cameras inside the car? Will it monitor your eyes?
Relax, says USA Today. There's no kill switch in Biden's bill.
They didn't read it because it's there.
Automotive engineer and former vintage race car driver Lauren Fix points out the problem with USA Today's so-called fact check. The newspaper admits the law requires new cars to have technology that identifies if a driver is impaired and prevents vehicle operation. Apparently, USA Today just didn't like the term kill switch. But it is a kill switch, and groups like Mothers Against Drunk Driving want that.
MAD points to Europe, where drunk driving detection is already in use.
If behavior doesn't improve, an emergency stop is activated. how many lives are going to have to be lost before we can say, all right, let's put this technology in.
It would save lives.
It's about control, let's be honest. Because once you give that up, you have no more freedom.
How do you appeal your conviction when you're sitting at the side of the road with a car that won't run, who knows where, stranded?
This computer decides you can't drive your vehicle. That's great. Unless someone's having a heart attack, you're trying to get to the hospital, your mother needs your help.
The kill switch is just one of several government plans to control how we drive. Some California lawmakers want every new car to have a speed governor.
Physically prevents it from going over 10 miles an hour over that speed limit.
Good idea, said federal regulators. Let's take it nationwide. But not being able to speed up can be dangerous too.
You have to avoid an accident. There's something coming at you. You have to make an adjustment.
You can adjust, says the CNN report.
If you press this button, you can accelerate beyond the speed limit for 15 seconds.
You can press this button, it'll let you go faster.
For 15 seconds? But what if you're trying
to...
you
find the button?
Yeah, right, while you're under stress for whatever situation.
Also, the new safety device will require our cars to spy on us. I didn't realize that our cars already do.
Nissan, for example, says they can collect information about your sexual activity.
Some cars now aim video cameras at passengers. Some listen to passengers. Some intercept your text messages. What do they do with that data?
76% sell it, and 56% say they will share your personal information without a court order.
I just bought a new car. Nobody told me that this thing was in there.
Oh, it's there. Because when you go to buy a new car, you get that really long document that's all digital. Who reads that? The small print says, we're collecting your data. We know everything you're doing in your car, and we own it. And there's nothing you can do about it.
And now the administration wants more spying to collect more money. Biden's infrastructure bill includes a plan for a tax based on how far you drive.
You would be taxed a certain amount for each mile. I think that shows a lot of promise.
A mileage charge seems fair. You're paying for your damage to the road.
Correct.
But when your car tells the government what you do,
what you eat, where you go, how long you're there,
it makes it easier for politicians to control you.
When you start allowing them to do this, they could say, we don't want you going to buy a firearm. We don't want you to go to that destination, so we're not going to let you start your car. The truth is, it's about control.
What do you mean it's about control? They're not controlling me.
Well, they can. Where do you get a bill for your carbon footprint? You know, you're at your maximum for carbon credits. We're not going to let you drive your car today. You can take the train. You can take the electric bus.
This is paranoia.
Maybe, but so far, everything that I've said about these things, each step keeps coming through. Look what they did to the truckers in Canada.
When Canadian truckers protested COVID mandates, Canada's government cut them off from their money.
If your truck is being used in these protests, your corporate accounts will be frozen.
You can't get your money out of your account. They can do anything they want when they have your data. So when you think that it sounds so great that they have it for your protection, the truth is it's about control.
So far, our government hasn't used its new technology to control us. But politicians have passed laws to start the process.
They never reverse these rules. They just keep building on them.
Well, good morning to Estelle, Diane, and Denise for joining us a little bit late, and that's all the time that we have. But we'll be back same time, same place tomorrow. Have a great, wonderful beginning to your work week on Monday today, everyone. Thanks for being with us. Thanks for your comments. Great conversation today. I think the show really flowed, and let's just stick together and do our best to make this world a better place in every which way we can. Stay tuned now for Earshot Daily on CKLU 96.7 FM. We'll be back same time, same place, God willing, on the same platforms tomorrow. Have a great one, everyone. Ciao.